comfortable putting him out here in the final ace match as probably maybe the best player out of those three, and they just want to put out their most solid player.
You know, he's 2-1 right now against Zerg opponents. He's shown us some really solid play against Zerg opponents this season. He's been out in stressful situations. He has a lot more experience than Bravo does in StarCraft 2. So I feel the choice. You know, I didn't think it was going to happen because of what happened to Rain. But a lot of people, I think, would argue that the way Rain played that game, he just wasn't really thinking about what was going on with his bank, and he made some really awesome plays, but he like ran out of steam, and it wasn't like rOrO basically just defended. And he barely defended. He barely held on, but it wasn't like rOrO looked like unbeatable in Protoss today. There was some weak points.
I think the best way to put it is that he just ran out of steam. You know, he was trying to do so much at the same time. It just failed at the end. rOrO was able to eventually overcome it. Maybe Classic is going to play a little differently. Maybe a little different style. Maybe he's more comfortable against Zerg. rOrO so far undefeated against Protoss. He is 4-0. So that's an interesting strat.
The map is for us, by the way, as was yesterday. The starting map, the final map, both one and the same. And rOrO is looking stressed out. It's late. It's now, what, 11:30? It's 11:30 at night. It's been a long day of matches. Both these players probably tired, very stressed out. This one final game will decide everything. We started at Frost, we're back at Frost, and everything that decides their future is right here, right now. This is the 2014 playoffs for Pro League. I'm Wolf, with me is Brendan. Let's go into our very final match of the night.
LTA는 SK텔레콤.
Spawning down here in the bottom right, the red Zerg for Samsung Galaxy Khan. This is, of course, rOrO.
Did what he needed to do against Rain. Ended up being a solid pick. So far undefeated in Pro League. He's up against this player for SK Telecom T1 Classic. Yet another Protoss. A solid Protoss. The third one they sent today. And it all comes down to this. You know, a lot of people would have said that Samsung was the underdogs, right? And they had a really good season. They placed really well, but they would still, most people would still call them the underdogs against SKT. All the hype surrounding Parting and how well he did yesterday, it's hard to imagine we really end up in this place where we're at an ace match, 3-3, with a player rOrO who just crushed a Protoss against Classic, who doesn't have the flair, you know, that Parting has or that Rain has coming out, and that is why I think things feel a little bit scary for SKT fans right now.
Yep, they have to be. I mean, people were saying maybe Parting goes on a bit more of his streak. Maybe he gets 2 or 3 wins. No, he only gets 1. Sulky, he's going to do great against a bunch of Zergs. No, he goes down as well. And now it's up to Classic. He's the last man standing against rOrO. It's a Ford's first for Classic.
Yeah, just like his teammate did. And this is a great choice because there's very little chance that rOrO is going to expect this because it's a 4-player map. This is why I talked about this when we very first started today, about how cheeses and sort of early aggression type builds are not really popular or even really scouted for on this map because you never expect somebody to go Forge first on a 4-player map. That's why we saw it sometimes on Whirlwind. And he sees the hatch.
Sees the hatch. He's not spotted, though. His probe is not spotted. Look at this.
Oh, wow, look at
pylons.
that. I've never seen this before. That's a tight wall there, and he's going to drop a cannon in there. And that's going to be unscouted for so long.
And another thing here is that he sent 2 probes out to get this just on time when his Forge finished it. And so far, rOrO does not know. He has no idea about this. He didn't see the probe coming in. Now he sees it, and he's going to be like, oh, whoa, what is this?
Yep, tight wall. And now there's so much he can do with this. And I guess he may just try to control the ramp. He's going to take a second cannon here, and he's going to cut off the natural from the main base. This is never before seen, by me anyways. This is my first time, and I really like it.
Yeah, I haven't seen this so far, and what an interesting play here on Frost, where you can just do it in that little lip that sticks out, the little tongue from the main base. Now this is 2 cannons that are in range of that natural. Spinecrawler is getting started, but that's only 1.
Yeah, it's only 1.
2 cannons up on the high ground, 2 more on the low ground. This is a big investment for Classic as well, if it doesn't go super good for him.
That Spinecrawler is even attacking it to just keep it at its lowest hit points possible. Cannon up at the main base as well. This is going to stop run-bys, and this is crazy. rOrO has to face abilities never seen before in this high-pressure situation. And gates going up, the wall is almost tight back at home. Of course, the Nexus is delayed by this, and so is the tech. So is the Cybernetics core. Lings will get in. That's really annoying, but it's only 2. One of them even eats a shot.
At the same time, though, that natural is definitely going to go down. It's not going to be able to be taken out there. He even keeps his probe around to make that extra cannon or pylon over there to block that cannon that's behind the pylon. Here he goes in with the Zerglings. He takes out the first pylon, or the first cannon. Now he comes in with the Queen as well.
And look at just how resource inefficient this is. He's spent so much to do this, and he's going to probably cancel that cannon, I guess. It doesn't actually get the cancel off, but still, he's just done so much here. He's forced so many Zerglings to be made instead of Lings, which gives him a lot of a problem that is exacerbated by the fact that he has no natural. He has no hatchery up over there.
Yeah, there's no hatchery. Classic is up 27-15 right now. 8 Zerglings that are going to do absolutely nothing. Even as a forge up, could go into a quick +1 if he wants to. He's in a really good position right now.
I'm not sure what he can really hope to achieve here. rOrO, that is, because he has a very late gas even. You know, he can't go to fast layer right now, which would be predictable anyways if he had the gas, for example. It's 30 probes to 18 drones, 31 now. Stargate goes down. He's like, you don't even really have a lot of clean production. And basically, I think what he's going to do is just overwhelm him with Phoenixes and then just continue to be ahead as he is in this game. Wow, what a cool build. And you'll probably be seeing a lot more of this one on the ladder, actually, after this game, I would expect.
Yeah, this is one of those builds that players see this and like, oh, wow, you can do this on Frost. Oh, I'm going to do this. You know, this looks good against Eric.
Well, yeah, this is not even mining.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, okay, he's just checking for Nidus.
Yeah. Sending the patrols. This is very safe of him. I love this. The fact that he's just, you know, he knows he's ahead. He knows what he could possibly face, and he's being very careful about it.
The Phoenixes will also clean up any overlords that could potentially Nidus in his main base, and then he's going to basically have to rely on, if he wants Nidus, just like Vision of Zerglings, for example. A very cute little Zergling line there that rOrO has set up. I don't know what rOrO is going to try to do. If he just tries to sit back and play a regular game, he's already behind, and he's not going to be able to get into the right groove. Like, everything is going to be wrong, everything is going to be off, everything is going to be late and delayed. If he decides to do an all-in, that's extremely predictable and very easy to shut down as a result. I feel for him, though. That's a crazy build that he was up against, and nobody would expect that type of build on a 4-player map like this one.
No, I mean, the Classic definitely have that one planned. I mean, he even sent the extra probes up to the base, up at the top right, to get the extra scout to make sure it was on time. It was very planned. It was very well executed. And with that build, he gets a huge lead here. He brings out this first Oracle here. 2 Queens in the main are going to try to defend this. So far, only 1 kill. Oh, it is going to get away.
Yeah, the Oracle choice was a bit strange. I mean, I guess he was... The thing is, with this, he still can come back and do damage later, maybe. But his Stargate was scouted, and the Queens are, of course, going to be ready for that. He hasn't actually added any additional Stargate units. He's just switching into what looks to be just an aggressive attack, most likely, with the Twilight Council. He'll be able to line up his +2, likely Blink as well.
Yeah, it's a bit interesting that he went for the Stargate, and he got 1 Oracle. And all that was able to accomplish was go in there and kill 1 drone and have to back out.
Gosh.
I mean, you know, if he was going to go for an attack, maybe go for something a little bit more aggressive, more early, and on the ground rather than go for that Stargate. But we see him right now drop down that 3rd. So that It looks like he's going to want to take this at least a little bit later. He's getting the blink, though, and the +1.
Those spine crawlers,
chrono boosted.
Yeah, spine crawlers not being burrowed has kind of been a little bit weird. We haven't really seen that. Oracle scouts the third base, which is insanely delayed, of course. And it looks like he wants to go Swarm Host here, which I like. I think it's pretty reasonable for him to do that. The Queens are so ready for any Oracles that might come in. And actually with the tech that Classic has chosen, and if he really wants to commit to an attack right now, which he doesn't necessarily have to. He's got a third base up. He's getting his upgrades up. He doesn't actually have to commit. But if he does, and the Swarmos already, he doesn't have detection. He doesn't have the body stack. He doesn't have AoE. And that could be what gets rOrO back into this game.
Could definitely be. I mean, he's just now starting his first Swarm Host. I mean, we said it before that he is a bit behind in build. He doesn't quite have the same economy that he would have in a normal game. So they are going to be a little bit delayed coming out. But if he can stay, you know, defended, I mean, he does have the spine crawlers. He's going to try to get up his third base. If he can try to build up the Swarm Host count and maybe go from there, try to grab a fourth there towards the south, maybe he gets back into this game. I mean, that Oracle transition out of Classic didn't do the most damage. It is a pretty nice army on the ground here, though, for Classic, even a forward pylon, but this is going to get scouted. It will definitely delay the push over here.
Yeah, there's the cancel. And Blink is nearly done. Robotics is nearly done. All these things are lining up here. The Roach Burrow movement is even coming out here, so he's going to be hoping to get some harassment done. I mean, just these little things he's trying to do. Unfortunately, he gets scouted and can get protection at that Oracle, which I guess I could have mentioned earlier. It was something he could have used in his attack if he wanted to commit to that. He is going to pick those roaches off. Bay on the way. I mean, he's already identified what he's up against, right, with his Phoenixes, so he's just making the right transitions. This Stalker is like brave, holding the watchtower. Uh-oh, these Oracles, or that Oracle is going to push those Swarmos back. He doesn't really have a lot of support for them right now. Great transfuses on the other hand.
Yeah, very nice transfuses, keeping that one Swarm Host alive. It is going to be pushed back now, but a ton of these sentries can do so many of these force fields. He has to be careful here. rOrO does. He doesn't want to get too far ahead.
Right. You threw me off there, like, get too far ahead. I'm like, he's not ahead. Oh, okay. Now I see what you're saying.
Doesn't want to move too far out on the map.
Exactly. He doesn't want to get, too exposed, right? And I mean, look at the upgrade disparity. +3 versus +2 lining up almost identically. And with Chrono Boost, we all know what happens next. And here we go, taking a page out of his teammate's book. He's just going to warp in 800 minerals worth of Zealots. And
they're going to stand there
and they're going to stand there and look ominously. Okay, now they're going to attack.
Giving rOrO a chance, just give him a little time to prepare for the attack. At the same time, though, a nice counterattack coming over here, trying to probably go for some of those probes eventually. These Zealots not being dealt with, though, on the other hand.
Yep, this counterattack is really annoying. The Void Ray, I don't know where it's going. It must have been actually wrongly hotkeyed. But the Zealots are killing so many Harvesters here, and he doesn't have he cannot afford to lose these Harvesters. His base is under attack, and I mean, this base has stopped mining. He's been able to accomplish that much at least. He's put him onto 2 bases, but I'm just liking Rain's position more and more with his +3 coming out. The Colossi, or sorry, Classic position, excuse me, and he's gonna have a very solid lead that he's already built upon so much this game.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to come a point where he nears max, and he has a bunch of Void Rays, he has a bunch of Colossi, +3 with range. It's just going to be so much for rOrO to deal with. I mean, he's been behind since the beginning of the game with that really nice cannon play. That War Prism is going to be able to get away. The Overseer trying so desperately to attack, but it doesn't have arms.
It's just like, it's 3 base against 3 base, which is not what you want as a Zerg player, and he's trying to supplement that by having these Oracles, which produce units that don't cost money, that can trade against the Protoss army. But it can only do so much for him. Now that there's 2 Colossi in the mix, he still has the Oracle for detection. He's got the Observer there as well. A Roach counterattack might just be shut down. He has a Mothership Core with his army, so he could recall. He could also just try to send that back, use an Overcharge, use Warpins if units for the defense. Now that the Roaches are scouted, he's going to have to make a choice.
The Roaches are here at the base. He has 4 Stalkers here to try to defend, but they're eventually going to be able to come back. They're blinking very nicely, and now this army is actually deciding probably whether or not to come back.
He has the Mothership Core out of position.
Wow. That's a mistake. That's got to be with the army right now.
Yeah, what is he... Now he's taking, like, the long way home. Well, oops. I mean, this is just these little mistakes that can actually get rOrO back into this game. I mean, rOrO's already... If he can even start a 4th base, he's back in this game. It's like, oh, there it is. Too late. It looks like he completely lost it. Like, he had no idea where it was.
Had full energy and everything. That's pretty big at this point in the game. Classic was going with a really strong attack. He didn't have the Mothership Core with him, and he just wasn't able to push forward. And now this is going to delay his push so much more and give rOrO a lot more time to get back into this game. I mean, like you said, rOrO is going to have a hard time taking a 4th base, but any time he can get is going to be beneficial.
Yeah,
at this point.
Like the Swarmhouse count has gone up to 13 now. He's got so many of them, and you could see just for a moment there, Classic went to attack the Swarmhouse. He had the Oracle in detection mode. Then he was like, "Oh my God, that's too many Locusts. I can't actually do this. This is starting to get out of control." He has 4 Colossi, and there is there's no presence of Spire at all on this map. There's no there's no Corruptors to help out. He doesn't have the Viper tech, so he can't make those. So the Colossi, which are continuing to grow in size, now up to 5, are really starting to become very useful against the Locust right on the ground. He's gone up to now 17 Swarmhouse, but with 5 Colossi, he can do pretty well against this.
Yep, he's even getting the High Templar out as well as probably Storm. We can't see the production tab right now, but I fancy a guess at that against this many Locusts.
You could be correct. That prediction is probably...
maybe.
It's
okay.
Reasonable to expect. I think it's High Templar. He's not just going to use him for feedback or just because it was pretty. I think Storm may have even completed at this point. I mean, he's going to have, when it does complete, because of all the energy he's built up, he's going to have so many Storms. The Locusts here are just not able to stand up to this army. He's going to retreat right now. Mothership Core has been remade and can help out in the defense here, as well as that Void Ray.
This is the push we were talking about. This is the big +3, tons of Colossi, so many Blink Stalkers, Force Field at the ramp even, nothing mining here at the 3rd. There's no 4th up right now. Trying to lacklusterly get that Roach counterattack, but it's not doing any damage. It's forced to back off. Yeah. rOrO's in a bad spot.
rOrO's in a bad spot. You said it very, very simply there at the end. Now Corruptors are out on the map, but it's so late. He had a Spire, but he couldn't afford Corruptors, and now he's trying to get them out. This one Void Ray is being worth so much right now. It looks like a Motion Core, not enough energy for an overcharge. But this attack is just looking, it's scarier and scarier by the moment. Picks off a Corruptor, loses a High Templar for it. Made a Force Field Heart.
And now he's at a point where a Classic is, where he's like, okay, I took out the 3rd base. I don't see a 4th base right now, and I have my 4th going. So I feel very confident right now that I'm going to take this game. rOrO has got to be kicking himself.
Okay, the Oracle sees this now, and Classic is realizing. Classic also has, this really strong army that's going down to the south. I wonder what he's planning over there. Maybe that's where he's expecting to find the 4th base down there, where he hasn't also seen. And just defending his base right now, because like you said, he expected, okay, no 4th base, I'm just back to defend, and I build my bank. And he hasn't actually added any more Void Rays. He has 7 Colossi, and he's got so many Stalkers to back them. 35, I think the number was, and he's got the 2nd robotics support base, so he can make 2nd robotics, so he can make so many Colossi. And when these armies collide, if the Swarmhosts if he doesn't have enough Locusts nearby, it's just going to be a disaster. And he's getting ready. He's getting closer and closer to the Swarmhosts. Swarmhosts need to get out of here.
Yeah, rOrO's identifying this as well. He's got to unburrow and get back right now.
He wants one more wave first, it looks like, and here we go. Wave goes down. He wants to fight this. Not a whole lot of Storms, in fact, actually, and now the Corruptors are just flying over about 30 Stalkers because, there's so many Swarmhosts or rather the Locusts to help out on the ground. I really thought there would be more Storms there. I guess he doesn't have all too many.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like many Storms in the fight right now. Here comes the attack again. More Corruptions going down. A lot of damage coming onto the Colossi. 3 go down. And then actually with the Queen support and a bunch of these Locusts, Classic's attack being pushed back again.
Yeah, just not a whole lot of storms there. A few more storms makes that a different story, because the storms not only do damage to the Locust, but also to those Corruptors on the air. And this base is still going strong. There was no, Rain group of Zealots coming in to do any damage over there. It's been left completely untouched. He does have a pylon, I think, over there to the top right that he could have used for warpins to try to harass
that actually needs to be his Oracle. I saw that go up there, and I just think it hasn't moved since. Well, I may be wrong, but he's got something up there.
Exactly. I mean, he has another, looks like, pylon to the top left of, like, the 12 o'clock. Yeah. So I think maybe that's where he's working at some of the Zealots. The exposed Swarm hosts are getting a little bit antsy, I guess. So that was really scary. They almost died. A lot of probes going down here. Crowd's going crazy. This is getting really tense, Brent. I mean, rOrO was so down on this game. He was so behind. And he's basically just decided to make Swarm Host his solution to the problem of having a low economy, because you don't. As soon as you invest in the Swarm Host, an investment will be consistent, because they're just always going to produce those Locusts, and they're going to keep attacking. They're going to keep doing free damage.
Yeah, and Classic just not so far responding too well to them. He's getting the storms. He's getting so many Colossi, but once you have so many Corruptors in here, once you give rOrO enough time to just max out, it's, sometimes it's very hard to deal with, that many Corruptors and that many Locusts on the ground as a Protoss, regardless of your comp.
Yeah.
I'd love to see, like we said before, a lot of those Void Rays in this comp as well, but...
Well, here we go. He's going to engage. This time he has 6 High Templar. The question is how many storms? 1 goes down, 2 go down. The Corruptor's taking a lot of damage. The 3rd storm goes down. He keeps transfusing, though. He has so many Queens in the Protoss army. Is it enough? The Corruptor's starting to get very low.
And with 2 of those Colossi left, they finally go down. And Fungal's even going down onto these Stalkers, but does he have the vision to kill these Swarm?
He's bringing his Observers now.
The Observers need to be here.
Oh my god, this is a game-changing moment. Now, finally, the Observers are here. And rOrO's Swarm Hosts they've done so much from this game, but they will fall, they will die here. And Classic Rain's teammate is looking like he's ready to finish the game. rOrO, although they head to the bottom left, looking very unhappy. You can see his face there. The Korean commentators stand up and screaming and yelling as this game looks like it is finally going to be over.
rOrO looks crushed right now. Such a great composition out of Classic. There's so many Stalkers on the ground. We're just able to flash in there finally when he got that vision. And now just trying to throw out some Infesting Terrans. It's not going to be enough against this many Stalkers. Even 1 Archon in there as the leader.
Yep, and the Roach is on the retreat, trying to hide. rOrO does not want to type out because he knows it's all over, but there's nothing left he can do. GG! And SK Telecom T1 will join the rival KT Rolster in the Round 1 playoff finals. What a day of matches. I could not have asked for a better semifinal. No question about it. This was the best day we've had so far all season.
Oh, yeah. This was so far definitely the best day we've had. And now Classic, the hero for SK Telecom T1. We weren't quite expecting him. He was one of the possible choices, but here he was coming in huge for his team. A really cool build right in the beginning. Was able to finally squeak it out against rOrO. Such a strong player. And now
just look at that scoreboard, It's just so back and forth. rOrO playing a great game. I mean, almost nobody else, would have been able to come back like that. He was just so resilient. He made all the right choices. I mean, he was playing off of 1 hatchery. The worker count was terrible for him. He was so down in supply. His tech was delayed. His 3rd base was so late. His 4th base was even later. And he still was just able to make it work with the positions and spawning locations and make the Swarmos work. But eventually, Classic was just too much for him. Just finally all those storms.